Africans say that they belong to. We're in a fez just like this. And I'm not changing my tone because it's about time that these punk, fake, black power, whatever they call themselves, get spoken to the way that they're supposed to get spoken to. Because they sold out the movement. They sold out the prophet since 1913. They sold out the prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Look at the large Muhammad with a fez. Ask any nation of Islam, where's their fez right now? I understand Prophet said, yeah, we can't speak agitated to people, but that was 1913. This is 2010. And he said that new Moors are going to come with their eyes wide open and they're going to fulfill his law that he laid down.
Reserve UCC Sub 1-2071-103. Too much fraud, signatures lifted without smoking a backwood or coke line slip. Bids over bonds and chattel I can't move. YouTube Moors and Paul show you what to do. Stop playing, I'm saying, quoting abundance. Stop saying you're rich with nothing of substance. Bankrupt before you're born.
Islam and greetings, Moors. Welcome back to another episode of Pardon the Interjection. I am your host, Supreme L. I would love to give high honors to Prophet Noble Jew Ali and all the active Moors and non-active Moors, because you soon will be. Here on Pardon the Interjection, we dig up information to divulge to the people in the upliftment of fallen humanity. Today's show is going to be a special show. Going to go over a couple things and to just check a couple things out. Okay. I want to give a special shout out and greetings to Sister Salali Bay. Hope you be safe on your travels. Unfortunately, we're not doing class at the library this weekend because, of course, it's a Labor Day weekend. So we'll be having we're doing the show today, Pardon the Interjection, in concordance with that class. What I've been touching on in class. One is nationality. Nationality, which arises at birth, coming from the word nativity, which means to be born, is the hereditarily genetic birth line of any people of the same parentage. In divine natural law and in the harmonious natural and national and international civic law, nationality lawfully bonds any people of the same pedigree together. Nationality determines the political and social status, position, or rank in any society. In the categorization of citizenship, status is the first issue that must be addressed or considered in the national and international civic arena. Furthermore, nationality distinguishes between the indigenous sovereign citizens and foreign nations and or aliens in all sovereign nations. Nationality determines who has all the rights and privileges to all the resources and benefits, and who has limited rights and privileges to the resources and benefits of a sovereign nation. A national written constitution agreed upon by the sovereign citizens protects their sovereign rights to all the resources and benefits of their sovereign nation, whereas foreign nationals have limited rights and privileges to the resources and benefits through treaties that their governments make with the sovereign government in which they visit or live. The treaties made between the indigenous sovereigns, nation, home government, in parentheses, and any foreign sovereign nation are constitutionally in force. And we're going to go on to national flag. The sovereign descent people of a nation create a national flag to express and to symbolize their parentage, customs, culture, language, and to protect their birthright heritage. Moreover, the flag symbolizes a nation, jurisdiction, and authority over the national land. The claim over the land may be de jure or de facto. If a nation's claim over a national land is de jure, it means that the citizens' right to the land was passed down rightfully through inheritance. Pardon the interjection, we need to check that King Alfred plan, Rex 84, where this is backed up when it says we will be a formidable match in the streets at a time where things may go haywire, and we'll put enough people in the streets, the minority, so-called minority, put enough numbers in the streets because we know that we're bound to this land by heritage. Check that out, Rex 84, King Alfred plan. And I continue. If the claim to the land is de facto, as it is in the case of the Union State Society, i.e. the United States of America, it means that the national land was stolen from us. And the indigenous peoples, Moors, Moroccans, who are the de jure unceded sovereigns, and we only can make lawful claim to North, Central, and South Americas, Northwest, Southwest Africa, Amexem. The indigenous people, Moors / Moroccans, are the only sovereign true citizens. Everyone else is a foreigner. The Star-Spangled Banner, red, white, blue with stars, only represents the members of the Union State Society, i.e. the United States of America's jurisdiction over their colonies / states, as well as its subjects, and not the land called North, South, Central America, Northwest Amexem. The English male, now I want to hold right there and get it together, because we know that this is a bombshell if ever we've seen it before. And we know we have to, check that out. But pardon me 1 second. Pardon me. And we're going to get it together. And that's something to really look into. The English male is the only citizen of the Constitution of the United States. That's really something. That's really something. Now, I get it. Let's see. The English male is the only citizen of the Constitution of the United States of America. excluding all others, even the English woman. Sisters, brothers, dark and light olive tone. You will not have any national and international protection at law as long as you continue to identify yourselves as one of the slave brands. We surrender our birthrights knowingly or unknowingly when we disassociate ourselves from our parentage, national nation. The governments of the earth recognize sovereign nationals. Let me say that again. The governments of the earth recognize sovereign nationals by their nationalities, parentage / family names, birthrights, and inherited land, national written constitutions, flags, and seals. National governmental officials are obligated by oath of office to protect the sovereignty or their respective citizens as agreed upon by them and their respective citizens, and within that's written in a national constitution or supreme harmonious law. Sisters and brothers, dark and light olive complexion, you will not have any national and international protection at law as long as you maintain the slave brands. We must honor our foremothers and forefathers in order to be recognized by the nation in which we live and by other nations of the earth. Homage to our ancestors is extended by reclaiming our Moorish noble titles, Ali, El, Bey, Al, and Dey. These titles belong only to us, the sovereign people of the land. Our nationality, Moorish / Moroccan. Our national heritage, birthright, land, North, South, Central America, Northwest, Southwest Africa, a Mexican. Our national constitution, Great Seal Zodiac Constitution. Our national flag, Moroccan flag, having a red field with a 5-point green star in the center. Our treaty flag, continental flag, displaying a red field with a green cedar tree contrasted on a white canton. Our national seal, the Great Seal, the pyramid, the Kunta, Earth Star, on the back of the Federal Reserve Bank's unconstitutional $1 bill note, distributed in the juristic United States of America. Sisters and brothers, our nationality is not one of the slave brands. We are who our foremothers and forefathers were, without a doubt. Our ancestors were not English Anglis, and therefore did not carry the English Anglis parentage family names, such as Smith, Johnson, Williams, Jones, Jefferson, Lincoln, Franklin. Sisters and brothers, we will not be free until we honor our foremothers and forefathers by reclaiming our birthright, inheritance, Moorish noble titles, nationality, land, constitution, flag, and seal, and clearly understand what sovereignty means. This is an indispensable social civic act in which we must participate if we are to be truly free from bondage to the shadow contracted affairs of the colonists, English, Dutch, Holland, Scottish, French, Irish, and Germans. The brand and label words have served their purposes well. That is, to deny us our birthright heritage, Moorish noble titles, nationality, land, constitution, flag, and seal. The chattel brand words are unique in that they originated with the Dutch, Holland colonists and forcibly applied to us. The indigenous people of North, Central, and South America, Northwest and Southwest Africa, a Mexim. After 1779 AD, beginning with our sisters and brothers in the ancient Phoenician city called Philadelphia. And we continue with some of the names and words we will be going over in class. I think we should let's read a little bit of the all right, some of the words that we have for class and have been going over in class is naturalization. And these are some of the words that we need to look the etymology up for. That's what we do in class. We look up the words in the etymology form. Nationalization. That is nationalization. Prima facie. Primafacie. Dissociation. Peonage. Peonage. Symboliography. That is symboliography. Residence. Domicile. Citizen. National. Sui juris. Suijuris. Latin. In one's own right. Sui juris. Sui juris. And that's sui juris. In civil law, one's own heirs. Proper heirs. And we have hereditament. Hereditament. Birthright. Estate. Allodial. Feudal. Feudal. Obligation. Contract. Fraud. Inducement. Misprison. Misrepresentation. Present. Represent. And those are some of the words that we looking up the etymology for. All students who study, those are the words for next class. We're going to go into the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics. All students, all Moor should have a copy of this in their travels, not just alone in their travels. All so-called officials, officers, go and must honor this code of ethics. They have to sign it and be sworn on and affirmed. And it states, as a law enforcement officer who is, partner interjection, who is elected, not appointed, as a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all. Maintain courageous claim in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule. Develop self-restraint and be consistently mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed in both my personal and official life. I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulations of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confided to me in my official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals. Pardon me, prosecution, but persecution is the word really, but prosecution of criminals. I will enforce the law courageously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of the police service. I will consistently and constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. Sworn or affirmed this day, signed, policy or police officer's signature. And that is the code of ethics. And we expounded on that in class for all the students who was there. Appreciate it. And we're going to go into something I was going to hit on in class. And I think it's important, and it will be pertaining to my big brother up top in Canada, Canada company, and I'm going to show about Parliament, and ultimately that goes with North America, so-called. But the Habeas Corpus Act of 1679. When the new legislature met, two leading measures were presented: a habeas corpus bill and an exclusion bill. In the Middle Ages, any subject of the English crown who had suffered imprisonment might apply to the king, either personally or through a representative, for an order directing the proper official to bring the applicant into court and explain why he had been deprived of his liberty. This was called the writ of habeas corpus. And in time, it became customary for the courts to issue their orders without waiting for instructions from the king. Recent experiences with Stuart methods had convinced the English people that it would be advisable to enact this custom into a formal state. Accordingly to the Whigs, Whigs, accordingly to the Whigs, under the leadership of Strathspey, pressed for a habeas corpus act, which was duly passed and received the king's approval. The immediate purpose of the statute was to make it more difficult for the king to keep his political enemies in prison. But the application was much broader, and the habeas corpus procedure still remains one of the most important safeguards of personal liberty. And here goes the bombshell again. The Exclusion Bill. The Exclusion Bill was concerned with the succession and was aimed at the Duke of York. As James was an avowed Catholic, the Whigs wished to deprive him of his right to the English throne. To save the crown to his brother, Charles dissolved Parliament. Pardon the interjection. So, the exclusionary bill that was passed, Charles, Prince Charles, King Charles, whoever it was, dissolved Parliament. So Parliament has been dissolved. And this book is History of England and the British Commonwealth, 1924, Harvard University. Parliament has been dissolved. The U.S. Company has been dissolved. Brothers and sisters of the dark and light olive complexion, take heed to what you're hearing. Take it and save yourself. Because Parliament has been dissolved. The U.S. Company has been dissolved. It's a freaking free-for-all. But it's ours. It's the Moors. It's rightly inherited by us. Let me continue. The following 2 years saw 2 successive parliaments, in both of which the lower house was dominated by Strathspey. People look their name up. Shaftesbury. Strathspey. And loudly demanded exclusion. The Lords, however, followed the lead of the moderate Lord Halifax, who stood for hereditary rights. The nation soon began to feel that Strathspeys party had gone too far in its opposition to the king and the legal heir. The Whigs had not only wished to exclude James from some of their would-be, also have excluded James' daughter Mary. Now, that's kind of rough, you know. It's rough around the edges, and this is a really good book. And I just turned the page to 470, and it says beginning of the long duel with France. And I see a word that jumps out at me. Gibraltar. They're talking about Gibraltar in here. Okay, and I'm going to read. naval victories, semicolon, Gibraltar. On the naval side, the outstanding events were the capture of Gibraltar in 1704 and the taking of the Monarca by General Stanhope, Stanhope, in 1708, soon after the Battle of Oudenarde, Oudenarde. Minorca was regarded as an important acquisition because of the fine and spacious harbor at Port Mahon, 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 and its strategic situation on the route to the French base at Toulon. Among the considerations that had determined the English to enter the war was a fear that the Bourbon kings might attempt to interfere with British trade in the Mediterranean as well as in the Caribbean Sea. They were therefore anxious to seize and hold both Gibraltar and Port Mahon. A feeble attempt was also made to fight the French in America, and Acadia, renamed Nova Scotia, was added to the British dominions 1710, but plans for the capture of Montreal and Quebec were without success. Wow. That's rough. That's rough. This book is pretty deep, y'all. And it and turn to another page. And it says the development of the British Empire. New settlements on the American frontier. And let's remember, family, pardon the interjection, we have to remember American, and the definition of American is in any various copper tone native found by the Europeans when they got here to the continent of America. So we are Americans. Okay? And we continue. New settlements on the American frontier. Amexem. Northwest Amexem. Northwest, South, and Central Amexem. Pardon the interjection. During the reign of George II, the Scot-Irish immigration was keeping pace with the movement from the Rhinelands and other parts of Germany. Like the Germans, the Scots-Irish settled in the Appalachian valleys, only they went farther inland and showed a tendency to drift further southward. It is estimated that during the half-century preceding the American Revolution, 150,000 Ulstermen, 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 found new homes on the American frontier in the years 1728 to 1729. There were failures of crops in Ireland with famine as the result. Thousands of Catholic Irishmen now joined their Presbyterian neighbors in the New World. Georgia, 1733. While the frontier was thus being steadily pushed westward, the area, or pardon the interjection, while The colonizing was thus being steadily pushed westward. The area of settlement was also extended toward the south. The last of the 13 American colonies was founded during Walpole's ministry, Walpole, Walpole's, in the 18th century, and even as late as the third quarter of the 19th. It was common practice in Western Europe to imprison those who were unable to pay their debts. The most notorious of the prisons for debt in England was the Marshalsea, or the Marshalsea in Southwark, where the inmates lived in unrelieved misery. But conditions were not much better in the other hostelries of this type. An English officer, James Oglethorpe. Yes, that's James Oglethorpe. That's Oglethorpe, Georgia. I remember that. That rings a bell. Partner interjection. James Oglethorpe, who had become deeply interested in the English debtor class, and more particularly in those who were wasting away in these prisons, proposed to relieve the situation by leading a colony of these unfortunates across the sea. The government received the plan favorably. Between the Carolinas and Florida lay a wide stretch of unoccupied territory which the English claimed and wished to secure by actual settlement. Farther inland, the country was occupied by the great Cherokee Nation and related Indian tribes, which were not Indians, were Moors. Partner interjection. And the English government had for some time shown an interest in efforts to divert the Cherokee trade from Spanish to English merchants. The ministry of Robert Walpole helped to finance the new undertaking. The trustees of the proposed colony were given a strip of territory south of the Savannah River to be named Georgia in honor of George II. Early in 1733, Oglethorpe appeared in America with his colonists and founded a settlement at Savannah. It was soon discovered that a more thrifty class of settlers must be secured if the venture was to prove a permanent success. These were found in immigrants from the Scottish Highlands and in Protestant refugees from Austria and southern Germany, who soon began to come in growing numbers. Wow. We're going to pause right there, and we're going to take it down to the bottom of the hour and the top of the show. Like I say, that was deep right there, and we're going to get more into that. And that's real good knowledge, family. And y'all take that and do some investigation and research and study. You know what I'm saying? And I will present more on the next class, and we will get deeper into that. All who can make it out to the class. If not, I will be doing it. We will be doing it on here next week, but we'll be doing a class regardless. Okay. As I say, don't believe me. Go check it out for yourself, and you'll be amazed at the jewels you'll find on your treasure hunt. This is Partner Interjection. I'm your host, Supreme L. Islam, love, and peace forevermore.